Welcome back on Game Plan 2017. Tonight is slightly over a week or 8 days to be precise to the election day. The stakes have never been higher and the political temperatures are rising. But despite skepticism, IEBC is struggling to reassure Kenyans that it is all systems go. On the other hand, the opposition, NASA and Jubilee, are trading accusations over allegations of attempting to rig the polls. Tonight we try to make sense of the latest developments on the political scene. We talk to electoral expert Felix Odhiambo, who is in the studio right now. Political analyst Herman Manyora, Manu Magoma and Gabriel Muduma, thank you all for making time for us tonight. Talk to us. Do you believe the August 8 polls will be free, fair and transparent? The hashtag is GamePlan 2017. You can also text us on 22422. We'll start with these two sound bites. This is what has been happening this week.
Shame on you, a former senior politician in this country, that you can use our security services that are committed to serving and protecting our borders and our people, and you want to drag them into your petty politics. I say once again, shame on you.
Jana alikuwa anabweka huko. Adio, shame on Raila. Yale ambayo tulisema jana, tuligundua njama ya Jubilee kujaribu kuiba kura.
So the opposition has made these claims about the military. Of course, the government has denied. First, what does this mean as far as the credibility of the poll is concerned? I'll start with you, Hama.
Not even this issue of the military. There are a number of issues we all know that bring to question the preparedness and the credibility of the IEBC. Now, specifically to respond to your question, I am one of those people who believe that we shouldn't even be on a table like this discussing issues of the military. These are very sensitive issues. We have a country, and I keep saying there's no alternative to peace. We need peace, because you can't do anything else in the absence of peace. And our disciplined forces, the police, the army, and all those people are responsible for the maintenance of peace, law and order. So we must at all times desist from engaging in discussions and debates that would step in some areas we shouldn't step. But having said that, we must say the way the government responds also is not really good. For example, if the document that Honorable Raila Odinga produced, and the army itself or the KDF itself says, yes, these are genuine, except the context is not right. What would they expect when Matiang'i and Rachel Mamo meet? They just give the context. It's just as simple as that. The context was wrong, so just give the context. No name calling, no shouting. You know, it's just as simple as that. In terms of whether or not the army should come in to help, the constitution is clear. It can come in. But what I find amusing is, why would you prepare the army to help with the police work? Work which the police does, if it gets too much for the police, you have the GSU. Should it get too much for the GSU, you bring in the army. The army does not need to prepare for such a simple task. Let me tell you, in 2007, for example, the young men had barricaded the road from Eldoret all the way to Naivasha and so on and so forth. The police couldn't do anything about it, and they were not even hiding, they were just right there. The moment the army appeared, the roads were cleared. Let me tell you this, the boys from Kibera normally would play hide and seek with what? With the police, even the GSU. If they were to be told the army is patrolling Ngong Road and Bagat Road, they will not leave Kibera. You think somebody will hear Jeshi Ngong Road, Natoke Kibera? They will be under the bed. So you don't need to prepare the army to do simple police work. They can come in to help, but I'm not convinced you need to prepare the army. The army is prepared for sterner stuff, for more serious stuff.
Are you convinced with the response by the two ministers, especially Rachel?
No, I'm not convinced. It's actually laughable. Had it not been for the fact that this is a very grave issue, we'll just laugh it off, but we can't.
Right, of course, at this juncture, it's important also to note that KDF has been cited several times as a reputable and highly disciplined political force. Still, this lingers KDF, I mean, acknowledged this document is there, but he said it has been quoted out of context. Although the Cabinet Secretary yesterday was talking about that document, disowning it, saying she has not been seen that document. So what should we make of that?
You know, first of all,
and that is what Manyora is saying. I mean, that is the response that Manyora is saying is not.
What was she talking about if she hadn't seen the document?
Manyora has spoken some truth, but he has run over himself speaking those truths. On one hand, he says that it is important for the army to be involved. On the other hand, he says that this is police work, and he cites the case of 2007.
You are not listening.
And let's be honest. Number one, military documents don't just leak. It is not something that somebody comes and gets this paper of yours as you are sweeping and you forgot it here and then goes and gives it to the other guy. They are leaked with intention. So that's, we cannot run away from that fact. Number two, and to a certain degree, and I've got to think as a Kenyan, and I think even a 7-year-old will tell you this, that when military documents leak, the military never confirm or deny of their existence all over the world. It's a general strategy that the military normally apply, because some of those things have formations in them, have got very critical information in them, and it was careless for the military to start coming and saying, yes, those are our documents. But having said that, let us remember, this country blamed the military for lack of preparedness to deal with the chaos of 2007. Sure, we blame the military. Oh, all right. And when they came to the roads in 2007, when they came to the roads in 2007, everything was quelled. Right. Will it be wrong? Will it be wrong as part of their everyday operations? And this is just speculation. For the military to say, look, what could be the scenario that might happen? It does not mean that we'll go there, but what could be these scenarios? That's first. But for me, what pains me the most is, if indeed you've got such sensitive documents, there are ways to address them. There are ways to deal with them. You've now exposed officers, their telephone numbers, in some cases their pictures, in some cases where they stay, to other elements. What are we telling? If you indeed you want to be the commander-in-chief of the military on August 9th, and you are still the same person who's exposed the same military and their identities, in other countries, people will call it almost treason. Okay. You are talking about leakage of military documents being what exactly again? They just don't leak. Somebody must have had an intent to leak those documents, because you don't pick them on the table. Okay, and this goes either way. You don't just pick them on the table. It goes either way, yes, I know. So they can be leaked with intention to create non-existent issues of propaganda. Exactly. Or leaked to let the country know of something sinister going on. Correct. I don't refuse. I agree. As NASA is claiming. I agree. I agree, but Hussein, everybody agrees. The one thing both sides agree on is that our military is very professional. That's the one thing we all agree on. That our military is one of the best in the world. So that has never been in question. So then, why would somebody leak documents to attempt to soil the name of our military? Whoever that person is, I don't know who it is, whether it's from Jubilee or from NASA, whoever that person is.
I think we need to first of all get the genesis of where this is coming from, and I'm liking what Mano has been able to talk about the leaking and how that information should be dealt with. Number one, remember it actually started by the training in Embakasi, when somebody said, or NASA to that extent said, that there was a group of general service men who were actually planning something. The narrative that came out of the GSU in Embakasi was that this was a joint military, East Africa military exercise, which was very normal. Now it went to number two. That was number one. Number two, it went to what Mano has talked about, the individuals whose names were brought out in the open, who had actually been transferred from the general service to the NIS. Again, a very normal process, as the police spokesman came and actually alluded to. Now the third one is this, where we have put again KDF in a stance that they are going to leak or help Jubilee steal the election. So we start by understanding that this has been a very crafted move. But to me, Hussein, I think we are asking the wrong question and actually moving away from asking the right question and expecting the right answers. And the right question that the commander-in-chief of this nation need to do now is to ask, how did a privileged military document get into the hands of civilians? Could we, as normal Kenyans, could we then deduce the fact that there has been instances where documents have found themselves in the hands of terrorists or collaborators? Can we then, because now you're talking about documents flying right, left. Now, when the police, when the KDF spokesman came out very clearly and said this document is authentic, albeit the fact that it has been put
out of context.
And actually applied a severe political connotation behind it, I think the person who should have continued with that narrative is the same person, rather than throw the ball to a technocrat. And as we all know, CS Omamo does not hold what you would call a military background. I wish the late Ngaiseri would have actually had the honors to explain. I wish. You know why? Because he knows the command, the military command, and also he has a political nuance to the case. But the question that we should strongly ask is this: why was that document leaked? If it has any monetary value behind it, you're looking at espionage.
All right, Felix.
Thank you very much. I agree with my friends here that we have one of the best military, the most professional in the region. And I've also been part of the electoral process in this country since 2002. And I was involved in the electoral process at an extremely active position, and participated almost in all the tallying center that were there. And let me say this for the record. There is absolutely no allegation that has been made about an election irregularity in this country that has not come to pass. It's given. In 2007, problems surrounding the electoral process were raised. And we saw that is the closest that we ever came to a civil war. The problem, whereas there may be legitimate issues about the leakage in the military, but that is also to miss the point. The point is not the leakage only. That, as grave as that may sound, the point also is, could there be some truth that the military is being enlisted to subvert the will of the Kenyan electorate? Don't forget, the sovereign power is with the people, not the president, not the military, not the CS. That is Article 1. Just hold on, let me finish. I didn't interrupt you. That is the point. Now, when we come here to say leakage, what leakage? The most sophisticated and powerful military in the world, the United States military, Donald Trump is dealing with leakages daily. Kenya is not special. The sovereign power rests with the people, and if there is any iota of truth that there may have been evidence of using the military to commit electoral malpractice, let's not forget 2007. The National Tallying Center, KICC, was barricaded. It was a military state. It was a no-go area. This happened in this country. You cannot sit here and say, oh, there's a problem with the leakage. The problem is just finish,
But Felix, I mean, you're saying if there's an iota of truth, isn't it? Meaning what we are dealing with right now, just allegations, isn't it?
Yes.
So how are we supposed to treat them? How is the country supposed to treat that?
Let's get into the matter of all this. If there was a problem with the leakage, let's investigate. That is a problem. But yes, if there is also evidence to the effect that
has there been enough evidence at this? That's the question.
The truth of the matter is there was evidence in 2007. What I'm saying is, instead of just dismissing, like I'm seeing people dismissing, this happened in 2007.
Let me just correct something. The narrative on this table that documents don't leak, whether they are military, nothing could be further from the truth.
Military documents.
You do not need to be a war historian to know that documents leak. In fact, forget about military or the Pentagon in America, even CIA documents leak. That is how we have documentaries. That's how we know about the pig issue. That's how we know about Patrice Lumumba. Documents do leak, whether they are CIA or from Pentagon or from where. But if you wanted to interrogate this leakage, we can do it. We can say, like you say, it is true. Maybe it was deliberate. Now, if it's deliberate, you want to ask yourself why. And this brings me to a very important question. that we must address as Kenyans. I want to call upon the two gentlemen who have the chance of becoming president of this country. That is President Uhuru and Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Please, if you want to be the president of this country, I think I'm repeating this, just win this election. There is no other way of being president of this country. You could be declared winner, you could even be sworn in, but if you didn't win this election, you will not be president of this country. It may take a little long, 6 months, 1 year, but you will not be. What I'm trying to say is, if you are looking at leakage in terms of something deliberate, could that therefore not be a story that should warn either side? That you see in 2007, this is how the staffing was done. Around 5 o'clock, just before we close the polling station, we see there are 300 people who haven't voted. And we look around, we are all loose. We are somewhere in Siaya. We mark for the 300 people. You remember that? Yeah. Then we are somewhere in Kiangoma village, near Tumutumu in Madira in Nyeri. We say we are all Kikuyus. Then we mark.
Correct.
This should be a warning that things have changed. There could be somebody in Siaya Luo like you, but he loves Uhuru. He sees the work Uhuru has done. He should continue and you want to win. Absolutely. There could be somebody in Kiangoma in Nyeri who loves this country so much. He doesn't want to see the shenanigans you are trying to create in that polling station. And with technology today, I am just advising, this should be an eye-opener. That if a military document can leak, please don't try any monkey business during this election. Just win it.
Okay. On another matter of credibility, I mean, we can talk about this still as gone, but another matter of credibility is about the ballot papers. NASA again saying there are ballot papers in this country, presidential ballot papers have already been printed. Again, there's also questions around IEBC, first saying they will print they'll print extra ballot papers, 1% of the 19.6 million. And then again they said 6.5%. 1% of that would mean 196,000 extra ballot papers, but they say they have 20 million ballot papers. So there's been questions about this 1.1 something million ballot papers.
Why do you need
why do we need them?
Why do you need this? So you raise issues. An election that is already polarized, surrounded with issues, you create even more issues. When I go to a polling station, if I go to a polling station,
it's going to start on the right premise, first of all, because they have now said it's 6.5% of the ballot papers that have been printed. That brings it to 1.2 million.
Why do you
ballot papers, extra ballot papers? So the difference will just be about 60,000 more ballot papers that have not been accounted for. What they'll do with those ballot papers? Yes, according to IBC, 6.5% of the
6.5% instead of 1%.
Yes.
If 1% is 190 something, how can 6.5% be less than that?
Of 19 million.
Yeah. Just allow me to say something. I think we are all being overcome by this percentage figure. Whether it's 1% or 5 point, I think the earlier figure was 5.4%, then went to 6.5%. It keeps on changing, and that's beside the point. I think the explanation, based on what I've read, IBC says, as a standard, they will print 1% above for every polling station. Okay, so if it is 600, they look for 1%, and then they'll print six votes above that. And then explanation number 2, and I think I saw it on their website. They issued a tweet and said they will round off ballot papers to the nearest 50. So if it is 644, then they will print 650. Okay? If it is 601, they will print 600, and so on and so forth. And I think the problem with this country, we don't trust each other so much that even running a poll for nursery school children, we will fight until cocks wake up in the morning.
Are there reasons about that? No. Okay. Are there reasons for that?
Let me finish my point.
Are there reasons for that?
Are there reasons for that?
Let me finish my point. Gabriel, let me just finish my point. And the point that I'm making, in today's standard, was it today or yesterday's standard, I saw an illustration of how voting will happen. And I've seen it across the many weeks. And I think we sometimes fail to read that voting process, and we get overtaken by all these numbers that sometimes people don't understand. The voting process, to the best of my knowledge, is as simple as this. Appear to the polling station, have your biometrics taken, be given a ballot paper, go and cast your vote, Okay?
Spoil one.
Hold on, let's spoil it. Then cast your vote. And that process, from what I understand, leaves no chance of an extra person voting. If I understood how the KIM system works, is that in the event the results will be more than the total people who passed, it will reject the results.
There is a problem here. In the interest of the viewer, please, Hussein, allow me. I have made this statement that we are dealing with Kenyan elections, with all our past, with all the sensitivities. And therefore, when you do something that is likely to raise the temperatures, please don't do it. Look here, if you have 700 voters, for heaven's sake, and you go to the polling station, for whatever reason, one of those is pulled away. I have not seen it provided for by law, whatever it is. Let's say allow them for it. Although it's not in law, you can tell us. We can tell you, please, since you have made this paper on your own, go away and come back at 5 when we are about to close. If there's somebody who has made voted, then you can use that polling station.
Can that really happen, Felix? Well, Felix, you've observed the election for so long. Absolutely. What is Manyora is saying? I mean, can that really happen?
You know, that won't happen. But context, where I agree with Manyora is that context is absolutely important. If the Electoral Commission of Ghana made a similar declaration, there would be no problem, because it has earned its trust, it's built on its reputation time and again. The same with South African Electoral Commission. So context is absolutely important. But I want to, and again, the second problem that we have is communication on the part of IEBC. Sometimes the message does not come out very clearly. But on this one, I think I'm inclined to agree with the IEBC that in the printing of every ballot, there has to be some, you must print over and above the projected or the number of the ballots that you want to print. So I'm inclined to agree with the IEBC. What needs to happen is that IEBC must have an excellent protocol of tracking this ballot. Absolutely, that has to be, especially for the presidential ballot. How many ballots were printed? When were they dispatched? What were the serial numbers for ballot papers going to each polling station? And that protocol must extend to the reconciliation of ballots that have been used in that for that election.
And very quickly, we start by what we talked about not trusting the institution. And I think that's where our major problem lies. The fact that we've questioned each and every process that we are moving forward with has created a scenario whereby it does not matter what IEBC will say or do, Sinister will still be read. However, what Mano and Wakili are trying to explain is this, that it has been a standard. And I don't think there's anybody who has really categorically come to say, apart from the cynics, obviously, who have come to say, you know what, you print an extra 5 ballots, you want to steal. But if the process is credible, and I don't think, Hussein, I do not understand why we are not questioning the narrative that what I need to know from IEBC is that if Hussein shows up to vote, is that Hussein who has voted? Hussein, if we really interrogate that, you will realize it does not matter how many ballot boxes will be printed. You know why? Because at the end of the day, you will still have a deficit. Because you will not be able to pass that process. If the tilting point is only 700 people in a polling station, I don't see how you can sell it. But again, you do not leave room. And I think that's what we are learning out of this process. It is as if you cannot leave room for even having an extra 10 ballots, because people are reading it as a sinister move. Having said that, very quickly, let me finish with what my good friend actually leaded before we came to this point. The fact that we keep going back to 2007. Can we put it here and now that the report that came from the Kriegler and our good friend person only. Can it be known that those are not...
And now that you say that, this is the last question for all of you. I mean, going to the last week of campaigns now, amazingly we are just 8 days now. Tomorrow, of course, 7 days to the election. Polls have been showing a very tight race, those who agree with the polls. But we're seeing both sides predicting wins and galvanizing their supporters. Should they manage the expectations of their supporters going to the last week of campaign? Or how should they manage, if they should manage? Plus, What do you think is going to happen the last week of the campaign? I'll start with you, Manuel.
Well, first of all, the only way to manage expectations is to let your supporters know you are winning.
Correct.
It's the only way. In politics, you cannot start telling your supporters, no, I'm going to come second. No way. They will laugh at you. They will not even vote. And we all know that we've got issues with the way the polling was done. In fact, I wish I can meet Angela and the good friend Wolf again, because there's still some significant errors in the polling. Yeah. But in the next 5 days, five days, because we've got about only 5-6 days for campaign. Yeah. People are going to consolidate. This is the time to consolidate. Consolidate and lock. Consolidate and lock. Consolidate and lock. And we'll start seeing a lot of these people going to their strongholds to consolidate and lock. That's what's going to happen. Ukianza kutembea all over the place, somebody will raid your grenade and take away all your votes.
You know, I've always said that in elections there are numbers like in war, and there's always strategy. Whenever I say this, many people misunderstand me. The situation on the ground now would be that NASA has the numbers, Jubilee has the strategy. They can outsmart them in the remaining week. But what I see happening,
you're saying NASA has numbers?
Has the numbers. On the ground. If you look in this country, you don't
based on what?
If you give me, you want to give me 2 minutes to explain? Yeah, explain. Based on what? Based on his polls. You Jubilee people, if you listen to me, you will celebrate me on 9th. If you don't listen to me, you will wish you had.
But no, Jubilee.
So listen. If you look at this country today, Uhuru got 7% or so in Western Province. The ground wasn't hostile then. Today the ground is anti-Jubilee. So there's nothing you are getting there. The same is happening in Ukambani, where Kalonzo Musyoka, Akamba San, this time is got the closest can ever get to power. You are getting nothing there. The same in cost. But if you look at what is happening in Rift Valley, even if you look at North Rift, where there are operations, government operations, you will sure lose votes there. If you look at where Isaac Ruto is, Jubilee is losing votes there. You get what I'm saying? If you look at Northeastern Province, you look at Northeastern, I don't know numbers you're talking about. So now listen. You laugh now. Listen, let me finish. No, because time is not on my side. You're asking me to explain. And I'm telling you the truth, even if you go to Maasai land today, generally, if Jubilee gets votes in Maasai land, as indeed they would, there will be non-Maasai votes. And I'm telling you that's the truth on the ground. But let me tell you what I see them doing. Because these are, by the way.
Well, it's important that he responds to that. It's important because you're not quoting any scientific research.
Yeah, but you said that. So then you come back to this and I give you what I see in the next one.
No, I agree that Jubilee got 7% in Western Kenya. How many times did Uhuru and Ruto go to Western Kenya in 2013 campaigns?
0.
Once.
Correct? No problem.
In fact, they went on the day before the last day of campaign. How many times have they gone there right now? Count. The only reason why they've gone there that many times is because the ground is fertile to be harvested. And there's some people who've already been harvested, and as they say, will be chanjanga. Okay? How many times have they gone to Ukambani? Unlike last time. In fact, even today, they were in Ukambani. Okay? So and that starts telling you that the ground is changing, and that ground has changed.
No, you've noted. I was finishing. I decided 18%. No, listen. No, you're saying please. You took my chance. You took my chance. Let me finish. We have quoted numbers that you still reacting to that. Okay, fine.
Okay, so much you come back. But Manwa, just like Manyora is not quoting scientific.
So long as you come back to me.
All what you think.
As long as you come back to me, you can continue.
10 minutes, say what you think. We'll see what will happen, and I guess this is what you think. But yeah, you were responding to the issue of what will happen in the next 5 days.
In half a second, I'll tell you why Western is posting the undecided votes. The people, the culture, the political culture in Western Province is people expect you to give them something. So when you ask them, who are you voting? They are hesitant to tell you because they want you to tell them they could scare away the shilling you give them. But now, to answer your question about this week, what I expect people to do, and this is going to surprise many people, I expect Jubilee to go to Uasin Gishu and sort out the Buzeki issue. I'm telling you. I expect NASA to go to Bungoma and ensure the ODM and the ANC candidates support the Ford Kenya candidate. That will affect the presidential vote. I expect NASA to go to Busia and sort out the Ujamong Otoma issue by telling Ujamong, you are a young man, let this man finish 5 years, we will give you undisputed ticket 2020. In the meantime, we will make you a minister. These are the kind of moves, strategic moves. Because if Jubilee doesn't go to Uasin Gishu, sort out the Bizeki issue, they will regret badly.
Well, honestly, I think what we're expecting this week is what you call burning the midnight oil. I know there will be cars being driven, I think, to all corners of this country. Helicopters will fly as is being known. And probably, let me agree with Professor that we may actually see quite a lot of deal making. We saw today in Machakos, we saw Kiala actually they are stepping down and actually supporting the NASA candidate. So we may expect quite a lot. I don't know whether that will happen in Washington, but if it actually does happen, you know, it's become a hostile place. It may actually go that way. But I think this coming week will be an element of serious deal making.
Okay. Finally,
we are staring at a very close election, and I think to the extent that Jubilee that is in power 4.5 years down the road is running neck to neck with the opposition, that is not good news. They should be way ahead by now, given what they've done over the period of time. Secondly, you said that Jubilee, Manyora should have responded to this, that did not, Jubilee did not go to Western. Raila never campaigned in Central in 2013. So the ground has shifted, and I agree with Manyora, and I agree with you. For those who say that 70% plus 1 and 10 million plus, we are staring at a very close election. Absolutely. And finally, what will make the game, the difference is if it's work. And I was encouraged by the update that IEBC gave. I hope they are committed to that, and I hope the technology will work. Okay. If technology will work, then we are staring at a very good election.
Felix Adambo is an electoral expert. We could still talk about a lot of things, but we've run out of time. Felix Adambo is an electoral expert, political analyst Herman Manyora, Manu Magoma, Gabriel Muduma. Thank you for making time for us. Now keep talking to us. The hashtag is GamePlan 2017 on Twitter. You can text us on 22422. We're back after this break.